everyone. Today I am going to be showing you how to crochet a hexagon. It could be made, you could do these to make blankets or afghans, different things. You could just use your little scraps to do them. Today I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm just going to be doing 4 rounds, but I will show you how you would continue to add rounds, and then these of course can be folded over to make those little sweaters or different things that people do. So I hope you'll enjoy this video tutorial, and let's get the party started. Okay, to begin, I'm going to be using a G hook, which is a 4mm, but you could use whatever size your pattern calls for. I'm using a medium weight acrylic yarn. Hopefully you could see this color here. So to begin, you could either start with a magic loop or with the 5 chains. I'm going to choose the 5 chains because it's a little bit easier to steady the first round going around. So here I'm going to just start a little slip loop, and you want to just loose enough where you can move it, but not so tight that you can't move it or it falls off. So here I'm going to go ahead and chain 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You don't want it too tight. And now I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain to make my little circle to close that off. Okay, so let me just, let me move that tail out of the way and slip through. So now I have this little center there. I'm going to try to hide that tail as I go along, but you can also just sew it at the end. So to go up for my first round, I'm going to chain 3, 1 and 2, 3. This is going to count as my first double crochet, and I'm going to make 6 sections of 3 double crochet, each separated by 2 chains. So here's my first double crochet, so I'm going to make 2 more. 1. To do the double crochet, you yarn over, go into that circle, grab the yarn with that hook, pull it up. You'll have 3 loops of yarn on your hook. Go through the first 2 and the second 2. That creates a double crochet. So here with the chain 3, that would count as 1. So here's 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to do another set of 3 double crochets. I'm going to then repeat chain 2 until I have 6 of these little sets here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that until I have 6 sets. 1 here, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to follow that with 2 chains. Here, 1, 2, and continue until I have 6 of these little sets. I already have 2 right now, so I'll go ahead and do my 6 and come back and we'll work our 2 chains, the last chains together. Okay, here I've done my 6 little sets. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all separated by 2 chains. So here I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that 3rd chain here. Now I need to work into my next little chain 2 space, so I'm just going to slip stitch over 1, 2, and then into that 3rd little chain, in that, a 2 chain space. So I'm going to slip stitch there, and now I can go up to my second round. So here I'm going to chain 3. That counts as my first double crochet, and here I'm going to make a whole little cluster. So I'm going to have 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same spot. So here is 1, 2, so that's my first little set here, and then chain 2, 1, 2, back in that same space and do 3 double crochets. Back in there, 1, 2, 3. Now remember I said that these little chain 2 spaces are going to be our corners. So now here, when I want to go into my next space here, I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, and now I'm going to repeat what I did here, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in my next chain 2 space, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around. So here's 1, 2, 3, and remember you can always click on that little gear icon down here and change the speed. Chain 2, 1, 2, once again 3 double crochets into that same space. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to go into my next space here, so I'm going to chain 1 to go over this little cluster, and I'm going to do my chain 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, followed by 1. So we're going to be repeating what I did here all the way around. And remember, you can change colors whenever you like, whatever round you want. So here, chain 2, 3 double crochets once again. And then when I'm going to go over into my next space here, going over my cluster, I'm going to chain 1, just like that, and do my next 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then chain 1, and then repeat again until you get here till the end. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that all the way around. Okay, here I've come to my last stitch here, so I'm going to chain 1, slip stitch into that third chain, and I'm going to slip stitch over my next 2 stitches to get into that next little space here. So here now what we're having, you can see the actual edges. Here's one edge, here's the other, 3, 4, 5, and 6 where we started. So here I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to get into that chain 2 space. In our chain 2 spaces, we're going to do our little clusters of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. In these spaces between our little chain 3 clusters here and here, we're just going to chain 1 and do 3 double crochets in the sections between our corners. Okay, so here I'm going to slip stitch over till I get into that little chain space here, 2 chain space, because I don't want to go up in, I don't want to create height, I just want to move into that space. So here I'm going to slip stitch in there. Okay, and now to move up, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. I'm counting this as my first double crochet. In these chain 2 spaces, I'm going to do my clusters of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and in these we just do the 3 double crochets separated by 1 chain. So here, let me show you here what I'm going to be doing. So here's my first 3 double crochet cluster. So I do 2 chains, do another 3 double crochets right there, and I'm just going to be doing 4 rounds, but you can continue making this as big as you need to if you're going to try to do a sweater or something else. So here's my first little cluster. So I'm here in between corners. See, these are the corners. So here in the middle, I'm going to chain 1 to go into that space, and then do 3 double crochets, just like if you were doing a granny square. Okay, and 3. Now to move into my next corner here, I'm going to chain 1 and then do my next cluster, corner cluster in here. And now you can see that it's taking a little bit of a different shape. So here you're going to be seeing your corners a little bit better. 2 and 3, and remember that little gear icon that I said is down here. You could, it looks like a little gear. You can click on that and you could change the speed of the video if it's going too slow or too fast for you. So here, that's my next seam. So now you could see that this is another edge, another side, our corner, corner, and then the center. So here now, I'm going to work in the middle section here. So now I'm going to do 1 chain, followed by 3 double crochets, and then 1 chain. And then we'll be back into that little corner. So there's 3 right there, chain 1, and then go and do my next corner cluster right there. So that's how we're going to be repeating all the way around. And then we'll come back and do, I'm just going to be doing the 4 rows, but you can continue and making it bigger. And you would just continue that way, that the corners, you have your corner clusters, and then these in between you have just 3 double crochets followed by 1 chain. So here's another corner cluster right there. So I'm going to do another one. And then, like, say if you were doing it for a jacket or a sweater, you would just, and you wanted to increase the length or the width, you just increase it on the 2 edges where it's going to the front and the bottom edge. So here's my next one here. I chain 1, 3 double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that all the way around. Okay, here I've done my last section here. So once again, slip stitch into that stitch there, slip stitch into the next two till I get into that chain 2 space. And then once again, we're going to repeat the same thing we've been doing by going up our stitches. And I know it looks kind of wonky, but it'll work out. So here we're going to chain 3. This is the last round I'm going to show you. And then on your corner clusters, you do your corners, and then here you do your 3 double crochet sets. And those are separated by only 1 chain. This in the corners, of course, have your 2 chains. So I'm going to finish this last round for you, and then I'm going to show you how you could fold it if you were going to making toys like the little dolls, or you're making a sweater. You're just going to continue adding the rounds that your pattern calls for, and I'll show you what you would need to do if you wanted to make it longer. So now here, instead of having just 1 section of these 3, we're going to have 2, and that's how I would continue increasing, because you keep adding more stitches here. So here in this 4th round, we're going to have 2 sets of the double crochets between our corners. And if you go to the next one, then you'd have more. So here you could see how here was just a 6, and then our little corners, and then here we had the corners plus the center. Now here we have the corners plus 2 in the center. And now I'm going to chain 1 and do my next corner. I'm going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, here I've come to the end of the round, so I'm going to chain 1 because we're between these corners. I'm going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain. I'm only doing 4 rounds, but you can continue for as many rounds as your pattern tells you to. I'm just going to fasten off. So this is what it would look like. It's not blocked or anything. But then when people do, like, you've seen those little toys, like little clowns or little animals, you're just going to fold. Okay, so here I've completed the hexagon, and then some people make this into a cardigan, like a hexagon baby cardigan, and I've seen some toys. If you're going to do that, you would need to fold, like, I think the easiest way to do that is to have these, like the sticks this way, and just kind of fold them this way, kind of like that. Just kind of like fold it over on itself, so it looks kind of like a little owl. But then you would flip it over, and then this would be the sleeve. You would stitch up here, and then this would be the front, the back, and the bottom along the waist. You would make 2 of them, and then sew them along the one back here, and then sew these other up edges. So there's a lot of things you can do with this. So this is a hexagon. I just did the 4 rounds, but you would continue doing the same way. If you want to continue working up here where we ended, you would just slip stitch into, you get to that chain 2 space, go in there, chain 3, do your corner clusters, and then you chain 1. Remember, the corner clusters have 2 chains, and then the second half of that little, it's not really a cluster, but the groups of 3. And then here you would do 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, and then in the corners you do the 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And you could continue adding rounds just like that. That's the same pattern to go around. And if you want to, you could also shape them with steam them. This is a really neat pattern, because then you could sew other hexagons together and make little blankets, afghans, different things. And it's a great way to use up scrap yarn, because say you only have, I have so many of these little balls, that's not enough to make a project, but it might be enough to make a hexagon or 2, and then I could attach those to, see, I have more here, and you know, other colors that I have. You just use the colors you have, and then you could start making your own little blankets. And see, you could just do different hexagons, and they would just use all the color, your little scraps. You could make a little lap blanket for maybe an elderly person, or you could make it for a little hexagon blanket for a baby. It's really cute. Add a little border, maybe some double crochet on all the way around the edge. That would look really cute. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that like button, and remember always that God loves you. Thank you so much.